There comes a time in your life when you realize no one is coming to save you. No one is going to carry you through the fire. No one is going to drag you across the finish line. You either build yourself or you break. That's the truth most people run from. But the few who embrace it, they evolve into something different, something unstoppable. Silence is the forge of strength because it strips you of everything that distracts you from who you truly are. In silence, there are no voices telling you what you should be, no opinions shaping your self-worth, and no noise to drown out your own thoughts. It is in that stillness where you face yourself honestly, without filters, without excuses. That's why most people avoid silence. It's not comfortable. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, your insecurities, your fears. But the ones who have the courage to sit in silence, to live in it, to learn from it, they become unbreakable. Because silence doesn't just isolate you, it refines you. It's the fire that burns away the unnecessary, leaving behind only truth, focus, and resilience. When you live in a world filled with constant noise, the ability to be still becomes a superpower. Every second, people are distracted by their phones, their surroundings, their thoughts. They run from quiet because they think silence is emptiness, but it's not. It's the space where clarity is born. Silence teaches you to listen to the world around you, to understand the rhythm of your own breath, to hear the faint whisper of your intuition. When you spend time alone and in silence, you stop being reactive to life and start becoming intentional. You begin to see what truly matters and what doesn't. You start recognizing that most of the chaos around you is unnecessary. That peace doesn't come from controlling your environment, but from mastering your response to it. Silence is where your mind sharpens. When you remove noise, you remove confusion. Ideas form, vision grows, your goals become clearer. Strength isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, and spiritual. And silence strengthens all three. It trains your mind to be calm under pressure, your emotions to stay balanced through storms, and your spirit to remain grounded when life tests you. Strength doesn't come from noise, it comes from control. Control of yourself, your reactions, your energy. Silence teaches you that control. It teaches you to pause before you respond, to think before you act, and to lead yourself before you try to lead others. When you sit in silence long enough, you start realizing that you don't need as much as you thought. You don't need validation. You don't need applause. You don't even need approval. You realize that everything you need is already within you. That's real strength, being self-sufficient. Not because you have everything, but because you can create everything you need from within. People who master silence develop a sense of power that can't be shaken by others. They become stable, calm, and composed even in chaos. Their silence speaks louder than words, and their presence commands respect without noise. Silence also builds patience. When you learn to be still, you learn to wait without frustration, to trust the process without rushing it. In a world obsessed with speed, silence reminds you that growth takes time. It teaches you to value the journey, not just the destination. It makes you appreciate effort, discipline, and the slow transformation that happens when no one is watching. The quiet moments, the ones that feel uneventful, are often the moments where the greatest internal progress happens. That's the forge, slow, unseen, yet incredibly powerful. Silence also reveals the truth about people. When you speak less, you listen more. You start noticing details, patterns, and intentions. You see who's genuine and who's pretending. You observe, you learn, and you adapt. Silence gives you awareness, and awareness gives you strength. When you're silent, you're not disengaged. You're in control. You're choosing your words wisely, conserving your energy, and protecting your peace. You're not reacting to every noise. You're deciding what deserves your attention. In silence, you learn to rely on yourself. You learn to solve problems alone, to find calm within chaos, to be your own motivation. That independence becomes armor. Because when you've learned to be alone with yourself and still find peace, no one can use loneliness as a weapon against you. The world will try to shake you, to make you doubt yourself, to drown you in noise. But when you've built your strength in silence, none of that works. You've already faced the hardest challenge, yourself. Silence doesn't make you weak. It makes you focused. It makes you disciplined. It makes you powerful beyond measure. It's the forge where every warrior, every visionary, every unstoppable soul is created. Self-reliance creates freedom because it breaks every chain that dependence builds around your potential. When you stop waiting for others to believe in you, to support you, to guide you, you step into a level of power most people never experience. Self-reliance is not isolation. It's ownership. It's taking full responsibility for your life, your results, your failures, and your victories. It's understanding that no one owes you success and no one can live your purpose for you. The moment you stop depending on others to give you direction or validation, you start walking with a different kind of confidence, the kind that comes from knowing you can handle anything that comes your way. Relying on yourself doesn't mean rejecting help or cutting everyone off. It means not depending on it to move forward. It means that whether the world supports you or turns its back on you, your mission doesn't stop. You learn to stand tall, even when you're standing alone. Because real freedom begins when you realize that your strength doesn't come from how many people stand beside you, but from how much belief stands within you. Most people never reach their full potential because they keep waiting for someone else to open the door for them. Someone else to give them permission to start, or someone else to carry them through the hard parts. But the truth is, no one's coming. The world rewards those who create their own path, who build their own momentum, who trust their own instincts, even when no one else does. When you're self-reliant, you're not afraid of failure, because you know you can rebuild. You don't need to be saved because you've already become your own savior. You stop chasing reassurance because you've built inner certainty. That's what freedom really is. The ability to move without fear, to act without hesitation, to live without approval. People who depend on others are constantly restrained by expectations. They worry about opinions, rejection, and misunderstanding. But the one who relies on himself doesn't need permission. He moves because he knows his direction. He fights because he knows his purpose. And he persists because he knows no one else will do it for him. Self-reliance turns pain into power. When no one else is there to help you, you discover your resourcefulness. You learn how to adapt, how to figure things out, how to endure. You become capable, not by reading about it, but by surviving it. Every obstacle becomes a test of your independence. Each time you overcome something without leaning on others, you gain confidence that can never be taken from you. That confidence becomes your fuel. You stop fearing uncertainty because you've learned that you can rely on yourself in any situation. You stop clinging to comfort because you know you can survive discomfort. You stop chasing external motivation because your fire burns from within. Freedom is not given. It's earned through effort, through struggle, through responsibility. When you rely on yourself, you realize how powerful you truly are. You no longer need to wait for ideal conditions or perfect timing because you create both. You no longer need to be told what you can achieve because you prove it every day. Self-reliance teaches you that you are the source, not the circumstance. It teaches you that your progress, your happiness, your direction all begin and end with you. And when you truly understand that, no one can control you anymore. The self-reliant individual walks with quiet assurance. He doesn't boast, he doesn't beg, he doesn't bend easily. He knows his worth, not because others tell him, but because he's earned it through experience. He's seen what he can endure, what he can build, what he can overcome. That's the kind of strength that lasts. That's the kind of strength that liberates. The more you rely on yourself, the freer you become. You free yourself from expectation, from disappointment, from dependency. You begin to live life on your terms, guided by your own standards and fueled by your own drive. When you rely on yourself, you understand that freedom is not about escaping responsibility. It's about embracing it completely, because responsibility means control, and control means freedom. You become the author of your life, not a character in someone else's story. You make your own choices, your own mistakes, your own legacy. You realize that you don't need to be carried. You were born to walk, to climb, to rise. And when you finally learn to stand on your own, you don't just find strength, You find liberation. That's the essence of true freedom. Knowing that no matter what happens, you've got yourself, and that's enough. Discipline over distraction is the difference between progress and stagnation, between those who dream and those who achieve. In a world designed to pull your attention in every direction, discipline is the rare skill that separates the focused from the forgotten. Every second, you are faced with a choice to stay loyal to your purpose or to surrender to distraction. Most people give in because distraction feels easier. It offers instant comfort, instant pleasure, instant escape. But comfort never builds greatness. Discipline, on the other hand, is uncomfortable, repetitive, and often lonely. But it's the only path that leads to mastery. Those who learn to choose discipline over distraction become unstoppable because they no longer move based on emotion or convenience. They move based on commitment. Discipline is not about doing big things once. It's about doing small things consistently. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep in, putting in the work when no one is watching, saying no to things that don't serve your goals. It's the quiet strength of choosing what's necessary over what's easy. Distraction is seductive. It promises satisfaction now but steals success later. Discipline demands patience, sacrifice, and focus, but it pays you with freedom, respect, and results. The truth is, everyone is disciplined about something. Some people are disciplined about their excuses, while others are disciplined about their growth. The difference lies in what you choose to repeat every day. When you live without discipline, you become a prisoner of distraction. Your attention gets scattered, your energy wasted, and your goals postponed. Every notification, every temptation, every unnecessary comfort becomes a small theft of your potential. Distractions don't just waste time, they weaken your purpose. They drain your focus until you start doubting yourself, until you start believing that progress is impossible. But once you commit to discipline, you start building a wall between yourself and those distractions. You learn to protect your time like it's gold, because it is. You learn to focus on the task in front of you, even when your mind begs for escape. That's how discipline transforms you, not overnight, but daily. Through repetition, through control, through choice. The disciplined mind doesn't rely on motivation. It doesn't wait to feel ready. It shows up regardless. Motivation fades, but discipline endures. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is a fire that keeps burning when everything else goes dark. Every great athlete, every successful creator, every visionary who changed the world did so because they mastered discipline. They learned to silence distractions, to endure the boredom of repetition, and to stay locked in on the mission. The world glorifies results, but discipline lives in the unseen hours, in the quiet grind when no one's cheering. That's where true success is built. Discipline is also an act of respect for yourself and your goals. When you stay disciplined, you're saying, my dreams matter more than my impulses. You're proving to yourself that you can be trusted to follow through. That's how confidence is built. Not by talking about what you'll do, but by repeatedly doing what you said you would. Discipline creates internal strength. It trains your mind to control your emotions instead of letting your emotions control your mind. The more disciplined you become, the less chaos can shake you. You stop reacting to distractions and start directing your energy toward what truly matters. Distraction thrives on instant gratification, while discipline thrives on delayed satisfaction. The distracted seek pleasure now and pain later. The disciplined accept pain now to earn peace later. The disciplined person sacrifices temporary comfort for lasting fulfillment. That's why discipline feels hard, because it demands that you think long-term in a world obsessed with the short term. But once you understand that the reward of discipline far outweighs the pleasure of distraction, your mindset shifts. You stop seeing discipline as punishment and start seeing it as power. Every time you choose discipline, you build momentum. Each day you stay consistent, you strengthen your willpower. Discipline compounds. It makes you mentally tougher, emotionally steadier, and physically stronger. And the beauty of it is, the more disciplined you become, the less effort it takes. It becomes who you are. You stop fighting your distractions because they no longer tempt you. You start moving through life with focus, clarity, and intent. That's the kind of strength that lasts a lifetime. Discipline over distraction isn't just a motto. It's a way of living. It's the choice to rise above the noise, to delay comfort, and to commit to growth no matter how dull or difficult it feels. Every moment you choose discipline, you're taking control of your destiny. Because success doesn't belong to the most talented or the most intelligent. It belongs to the most disciplined. Those who can master their attention, master their world. And when you finally learn to silence distraction and stay true to your path, you realize that discipline isn't restriction. It's ultimate freedom. Not everyone is built for your path, and that truth can be difficult to accept when you're someone who dreams big, works hard, and expects the same level of drive from others. You'll learn, often the hard way, that the journey to your goals will naturally separate you from people who don't share your vision. It's not personal. It's necessary. Every path of growth, discipline, and purpose becomes narrower as you rise. The air gets thinner, the work gets harder, and the sacrifices become heavier. Not everyone is meant to walk that climb with you. Some people were only meant to be a part of your beginning, not your becoming. Understanding that will save you a lot of disappointment and help you focus your energy where it belongs, on your mission. When you start chasing something greater than comfort, you begin to stand out. You talk differently, think differently, act differently. That difference will make others uncomfortable. People will question you, doubt you, and even try to pull you back to their level. Not because they're evil, but because your effort reminds them of what they're not doing. Your focus exposes their distractions. Your discipline highlights their complacency. They'll say you've changed, and they'll be right. You've grown. You've outgrown small talk, excuses, and average goals. You've outgrown the need for approval. Not everyone can handle that transformation because growth demands letting go, and most people cling to what's safe. The truth is, the higher your standards rise, the fewer people you'll find walking beside you. You'll look around and realize that the crowd that once cheered for you is gone. The energy that once surrounded you fades. It's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's proof you're elevating. Greatness demands isolation. It requires focus, and focus thrives in solitude. The more serious you become about your goals, the less time you have for people who aren't serious about theirs. You start recognizing that energy is currency, and you can't afford to spend it on people who drain yours. Not everyone will understand the late nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices, and the silence. But they don't need to understand it. It's not their path, it's yours. You'll learn that loyalty has levels. Some will walk with you as long as it's convenient. Some will cheer for you as long as you don't surpass them. Some will only support you when your success benefits them. But very few will walk with you through the lonely parts, the uncertain parts, the grinding parts where there's no spotlight. That's why you must learn to be okay walking alone. You have to trust that the right people, the ones meant for your next level, will appear at the right time. But until then, you must keep moving. You can't slow your pace to make others comfortable. You can't dim your fire to make others feel less insecure. Your purpose is not meant to fit their comfort zone. The path you're on will demand sacrifice, relationships, comfort, and sometimes even peace of mind. But every time you let go of what no longer aligns with your purpose, you create space for what does. The people who are truly built for your path will never need to be convinced to stay. They'll match your energy, understand your silence, and respect your drive. Everyone else will fall away naturally. And that's not failure, it's alignment. You're not losing people, you're finding yourself. Not everyone is built for your path because your path was designed for your strength, your endurance, and your purpose. What breaks others may be what builds you. What discourages them might be what refines you. That's why you can't compare your journey to anyone else's or expect them to understand yours. Your path is personal. It's not supposed to make sense to everyone else. It's supposed to make you stronger, wiser, and more grounded in who you are. Eventually, you'll look back and realize that the solitude you once feared became your sanctuary. That walking alone didn't weaken you. It revealed your power. You'll see that the ones who fell away weren't bad people. They just weren't meant for where you were going. And that's okay. Because not everyone is built for the climb. Not everyone is ready for the sacrifice. And not everyone can handle the weight of your vision. But you can. You were built for it. That's why the path belongs to you, and only you. Walk alone, win alone, inspire many. These words carry a truth that defines every person who has ever risen above average. The path to greatness is rarely crowded, because few are willing to walk through the silence, rejection, and isolation that come before success. When you choose to walk alone, you're making a decision to trust your vision, even when no one else can see it. You're choosing to move forward when the world doubts you, to keep building when no one claps, and to keep believing when it feels like you're the only one who does. That kind of faith is not easy, but it's what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Walking alone means you've stopped waiting for permission, approval, or support. You've decided that your mission matters more than your comfort. There will be moments when walking alone feels like walking through darkness. You'll question yourself, your timing, and your strength. You'll wonder if you're doing the right thing when the path gets hard and the results take longer than expected. But those moments are not signs of weakness. They're the proving ground for warriors. Because when you learn to rely on nothing but your own willpower, you discover what you're truly capable of. The solitude that once felt like punishment becomes a teacher. It teaches you resilience, patience, and self-trust. It shows you that you don't need to be carried. You just need to keep moving. And with every lonely step forward, you grow sharper, tougher, and more unshakable. Winning alone is a different kind of victory. It's not about ego or pride. It's about knowing that everything you achieved came from your own grit and perseverance. There was no shortcut, no handout, no safety net. Every win you earn through solitude has depth because it carries the story of your struggle. It represents all the times you stayed disciplined when no one was watching, all the times you worked when no one believed, and all the nights you kept pushing when giving up seemed easier. Those victories mean more because they were built in silence, out of sight, through sacrifice. You didn't just build success, you built character. You became your own source of motivation, your own leader, your own proof that consistency works. And when you finally rise, when your efforts turn into results, when your silence turns into a story, and your pain turns into purpose, you become an example. That's when you inspire many. Because people will see your success, but they won't understand your solitude. They'll admire your achievements, but never know the weight you carry to get there. That's what makes your journey powerful. It becomes a light for those still walking in their own darkness. You show them that it's possible to rebuild from nothing, to rise without applause, to stand tall without a crowd. Your story gives hope to those who think they're alone in their struggle. You become living proof that solitude isn't the end. It's the beginning of strength. Walking alone builds authenticity. You're not shaped by opinions or controlled by expectations. You don't need to impress anyone because your purpose comes from within. When you walk alone, you learn to listen to your instincts, to make decisions that align with your truth, and to trust your process. You stop chasing approval and start chasing mastery. You stop following trends and start creating your own lane. And the people who eventually notice your success will realize something. They'll see that your power came from independence. They'll respect you because you didn't wait for validation. You created it through action. The beauty of walking alone is that you develop an unshakable relationship with yourself. You learn to enjoy your own company, to draw strength from solitude, and to be your own biggest supporter. That's why, when you win, it feels different. The victory doesn't just belong to your skills, it belongs to your perseverance. And that's what inspires others. They see your discipline, your focus, your patience, and they realize that greatness isn't about luck or popularity. It's about showing up even when no one's watching. It's about doing what needs to be done, especially when no one is clapping. Walking alone and winning alone will always feel like a heavy road, but it's the one that builds the strongest hearts. The world might not understand your silence, But one day, they'll respect your success. Your story will remind people that loneliness isn't the enemy. It's the birthplace of self-discovery. Your struggle will remind them that every champion once stood alone. And your victory will remind them that even when you walk alone, you never truly lose. Because the strength you build in solitude becomes the power that inspires millions.